Hey guys, Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com. So I recently got a question from a guy that got 8 deals under contract, but couldn't sell any of them. So what do you do when you sign a contract with a seller and the price is too high? You're trying to sell it, but guess what? You're getting no bites. You're stuck. The seller's bugging you, asking if you're going to close. When are you going to close? And you're freaking out because the timeline's shortening on your close date and you can't find a buyer because your price is too high. Well, I'm going to talk about a technique that works literally about 85% of the time. And we use it when we get in a situation where we contract a property at too high of a price. So first off, I was just in our Monday morning meeting and we discussed that about a couple of properties we're working on right now. So my first question when we're diving into the process is, have we exhausted all measures when it comes to marketing and getting eyeballs on the property? So if I was going to ask you right now and we were going to sit down for a one-on-one coaching session, I was going to say, hey, listen, I know you're trying to sell the property. You believe it's too high, but how many people have you actually got to see the property? Well, most times it's like, well, I have 3 or 5 or 7, Not a lot of people have seen the property, so we immediately start to freak out. We jump to the fact that we got the price too high, or maybe it might not be a deal. What happens is when you get a property under contract, you immediately have to shift to then selling the property, and you got to do whatever it takes to try to get that sucker sold. So we want to exhaust all measures. What does that mean by exhausting all measures? Well, if you have an email list, you want to send it out multiple different times, every single day to your email list, right? Every day. You want to call your hot buyers. Well, first off, what if you don't have an email list? Well, you can go to sites like Cash Buyers Plus and buy an email list. On that list will be emails you can send emails to. You can call. You can send text if you want to these buyers. What I would do is I would go through and pick up the phone and call as many people as possible. I text as many people as possible. I'd send emails out to that buyer's list, right? If you don't have a buyer's list, then you can go to Cash Buyers Plus. If you do, then get on the phone, start emailing them, calling them, texting them, and get your message out in front of as many people as possible. That's number one. That's the first thing we do is we send an email, we're going to send a text, and we're going to call our close, intimate buyers about the property for the purpose of them seeing the property. They've got to be able to see and look at the property. Now, even if there's tenants, you got to get the buyers in to see the property. I like doing what's called a 30-minute open house. We schedule 30 minutes where we can get as many people there as possible to go look at the property. So, and we have some time we build up for it and stuff like that. Works incredibly well to get eyeballs looking at the property. So first off, we're gonna send an email. We're going to text. We're going to call our intimate buyers. Right? We're basically going to do that. That's the first measure of make sure we cover all bases here. The next thing we want to do is we want to post it on Craigslist and try to get that out. We want to post it on social media and put it out on our Instagram, put it out on our Facebook to try to get eyeballs that way. We're trying to get massive amount of exposure. Now, a next level thing you can do is what we use Rei Automator at reiautomator.com, and we'll put the property address in, and we're going to put essentially a square around the property, probably about a 2 mile to 3 mile square or circle around the property, and we're going to pull all the cash buyers that bought single family homes or properties that are similar to our property, single family homes that purchased in the last 12 months. So we just did this morning on a property that we have, and there was over 102 buyers that purchased properties in the last 12 months in this radius that we pulled in about a 2 mile radius. 102 buyers, right? The buyer is in that 102. We just got to get in front of them. First off, you know what I told the guys? Pick up the phone, call them, pick up the phone and call the most recent buyers that are closest to the property. The next thing we're going to do is, well, first off, we're going to skip trace the list. Now, the cool thing about Rei Automator, you can select the list and you can skip trace the list, meaning it will give you names, telephone numbers, email addresses of these actual buyers in this particular area. So So what we're going to do is we're going to pull that list, 102, then we're going to skip trace the list, then we're going to email the list, we're going to text the list, we're going to call the list. Now, you're not going to get 100% match rate. We're not going to get 102, names and emails and telephones. We're going to get about probably 30%, like 30 out of the 102 we're actually going to be able to contact, right? The other thing too is you can send out direct mail. You can send out a letter to those buyers that would prompt them to call in about your property. You could tell them about your specific property you're looking to sell. You'll get a response. You'll get people to call in about that specific property. So that is a great way to get yourself in front of relevant buyers that purchased right directly in the neighborhood recently, because these are the buyers. Now, I used to drive around when I get a property around the neighborhood, and I would stop at all the houses where there's like a 40-yard roll-off. I'd walk in, I'd go talk to buyers. That's how I knew they were buying properties and renovating. And I'd stop in, I'd walk in, I'd talk to the buyer, maybe the contractor there, get the name of the buyer, give them a call, and see if they wanted to buy a house down the street. And I sold a ton of properties that way. Now, the cool thing is with technology, you literally can just put it into a box and then pull all the buyers right there. Skip trace them, you get their names. Now, if you can't find their names, then go out, you can search on Google, you can put the address of the property, you can go on the corporation commissions, if it's an LLC, put the address in Google, and more times than not, their name will pull up and you can give them a call. So that is another level of method of literally going all out and trying to find the buyer. And we'll get to the technique of what we can do next with these buyers. The next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Zillow. Now, what Zillow does is allows you to put in the zip code for the seller. You can put it in that zip code for the property address, and it'll give you all the top agents. So it's a Zillow realtor search, Zillow like realtor search. And it will give you the top realtors in a specific area. Now, why do you want to go after realtors? Realtors are great because they cultivate buyers. So I would talk to all the realtors in a specific zip code about this property to see if they had any in pocket buyers looking, or they had investors that they represented that are looking to buy properties in that particular neighborhood. There's a great way to find agents in that specific area that know that market inside and out. They're paying Zillow to get their name on top of the list when it comes to that particular zip code. So they are incredibly valuable. They know a ton of information. So that's huge, right? Call them, ask them if they have any buyers for a specific property that's coming online. So now you've exhausted all measures. You've done whatever you could do. You actually could have bandit signs out if you wanted. But now what you're going to do is you're soliciting offers. You're trying to get the highest offer possible, 2 or 3 or 4 offers. Now, there's specifically what you want to do, because you're going to tell the buyers that they're going to send over, give your numbers. And it's essentially maybe not a written offer, but it's a verbal offer, right? Theoretically, let's say you have a property we have a property right now that we're putting out for $369, and it's essentially too high. So we've got to get offers. So I told my guys to listen, just get numbers from the buyers, get numbers coming in so we can start working with them. So let's say theoretically we got $369, we get offers at $349, $339, $329, $319 for an example, or $325. Let's call it $325 to make it easy. Through $325, there's a pretty big gap there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the $325, the highest verbal offer we can get, and we're going to tell that buyer, say, listen, we need to know if we get your number at $325, are you willing to close this coming Friday? And if the answer is yes, are you willing to put down a $5,000 non-refundable deposit? And their answer is yes, and they say, listen, I need your word on this. You're going to do it. I'm going to go back and renegotiate with the seller and try to get your number at $325 so we can get this closed Friday. But as soon as I go back and renegotiate and they commit to go, then we need to get this sucker closed on Friday. I can't have any backing out, anything. So you got to make sure it's a good buyer. Make sure they're qualified. Ask them for a proof of funds that they're going to put $5,000 non-refundable and they can close the following Friday. Now what you're going to do is now you have essentially a number and a price. Now, you're going to get feedback from these buyers. Now, for an example, we have this one property where in the back, the neighbor has this huge shed in back that it gives the property less value because it's a big, gigantic shed. You walk out in the backyard and there's huge sheds in the backyard, and it's the neighbor. You can't do anything about it, right? And there's no HOA there, so what do? You just deal with it. So the goal is to get number 325. Now you're going to go back to the seller and you're going to negotiate. And you're going to say, listen, Mr. Seller, there's a shed in your backyard. It's you know what, and all our investors we're talking to, the bottom line is I can't get this deal done because of this neighbor, and the shed is affecting the value of this property. I can't get the deal done. I have an approval to get this sucker done at $305,000. I can get it done at $305 and I can close it Friday. And I got two pieces of paper here. I got a cancellation form if we can't agree on that, or I've got an addendum to reduce the price down to $305. Now, if you can do $305, it's a deal. We can close on Friday. If not, here's the cancellation. We're gonna have to back out. So what that's gonna do is more times than not, they will sign, even if it's a big price drop like that. I have done massive price drops. Now, I don't make a business practice out of this, but if we sign too high and that is the value of the property, that's what the buyer's buying it for, then that's what we're going to do it for. You have to do it in that, and you have to meet them in person. You have to show them the paperwork, and what's going to happen is they're going to pick, in whichever one they pick, it's their choice now. It's not your choice. And then you can get the deal done. They sign it, the addendum, they reduce the price to $305, you sell it for $325, you make 20 grand, and you close the deal, and you're done. So hope that helps. Check the link out in my bio. It might help you out too. So check out link in my bio. Check it out. We just put it up there. See you soon. God bless.